Royal theatres all across Ireland, requesting he come and give lectures about Boys Town, because the movie Boys Town had come out, and he was such a national, international figure, and they were so proud of him in Ireland. Before Father Flanagan went, he was actually receiving letters from people in Ireland talking about reform school programs, saying that these were programs for children to live in, especially orphan boys and girls, and they were suffering abuse there.
A reformatory school was technically for young offenders, and an industrial school was really for those who were pre-delinquent, that they actually hadn't committed an offence yet, but were deemed at risk of committing an offence. By the end of the 19th century, we had about 70 to 80 industrial schools throughout the country and approximately a dozen reformatory schools. And they became just large-scale residential institutions for quite often just deprived children.
We're talking about, a period of time of the 1920s to 30s, 40s in Ireland, which was a very, very traumatic and transitional period where we were moving from being ruled by the British to taking over ourselves, and we were old-fashioned as well. We believed very strongly in that old-fashioned discipline of brutality, really, where children were told to be seen and not heard. That was very much the philosophy.
Father Flanagan, as part of this mission, would go give a lecture and then go unannounced to visit one of these schools. In Belfast, 50,000 people turned out to see him. It was a huge event. And then he went to visit their local school, and he discovered down in the basement they had all these little boys who were sewing shoes with one light bulb. And Father Flanagan said, "This is terrible. These little boys are going to go blind."
Later, during a speech in Cork, he said, "From what I have seen since coming to this country 4 weeks ago, your institutions are not all noble, particularly your Borstals, which are a disgrace. Children who go to these places of punishment are sick children, mentally and spiritually. They're not to be rehabilitated by people like guards, such as we have in those institutions today. We must fight these things, and we can only fight them by prayer and by sincerity on the part of the citizenry to protect our youth against punishment."
The Irish government and government officials, even the Catholic Church in Ireland, were shocked that Father Flanagan did that, because they assumed he would come and just give them a pass saying everything is great.
The kind of thing that he was saying and the kind of thing that he was doing was effectively, state-of-the-art, cutting-edge social teaching of the Catholic Church.
I suspect Father Flanagan was probably disappointed that what he had learnt from his own experience didn't appear to be valued when he went to try to share it with others. They say a prophet is never recognised in his own country or among his own people. Father Flanagan seemed ready to risk his own reputation, if you like, in order to care for those who were in need.
And when he got back to America, the press asked Father Flanagan, "What do you think of your trip?" And he said, "The child care institutions in Ireland are a disgrace to the nation." And at that point, he was denounced in the Irish Parliament. And after that, he was kind of written out of history.
Father Flanagan was able to get a place just on a corner in downtown Dodge Street, the main drag. He had a few kids, and they kind of lived together in community. They didn't have a lot, but Father Flanagan made the most of what was available to them.